Good evening, guys. Boxing gossip in the house. Just bear with me. Let me just make sure that this stream is going live. See, there's a few people in the chat. Shout out to Team Groves, to Mikey, to Luke. Let's see who else is in the chat. To Joseph, to Adam. Good evening, guys. Hope everyone's doing well. I can see we're live and we're going out. So, yeah. Big night of boxing ahead, people. David Haye versus Tony Bellew. It is fight night. The pay-per-view has started. For you guys who want to watch a bit of boxing, you have 22 and a half minutes until encryption. So channel 491 on your Sky Sports, you can currently watch the boxing action without paying, although you'll lose that in 22 minutes. So you'll probably be able to watch the first fight of the night, which is Ted Cheeseman versus Jack Sellers. 8 rounds in the light middleweight division, and I can see both guys are in the ring, so wanted to get this live stream up and running straight away. Karen's joined, Michael's joined. Good evening, guys. Hope you're both doing well. Right, so Ted Cheeseman, 7-0, 6 of his 7 wins coming by way of knockout. Still only 21 years old. I was at his last fight against Lloyd Ellett, and in that fight, he was the bigger, stronger man. Lloyd Ellett gave him some real problems in the first round or so with his movement and his boxing. But Cheeseman was a substantially bigger guy, looked like he carried a lot more power and timed a punch nicely that ended the fight effectively early on. So it gave me the suggestion that potentially he's a guy who will struggle against a moving boxer who's his own size. But at the same time, for a 21-year-old kid in his 6th or 7th fight, you know, the guy showed some good timing, some good patience, and I thought I'd like to see him again. Tonight, he's up against Jack Sellers, who's had 6 fights, 5 wins, 1 draw. Of his 5 wins, all of them came against guys with losing records. The time he stepped up and fought an opponent with a winning record, he dropped a draw. And that winning record was only 2-0. So you can't judge someone purely by a box track. I've never seen this guy fight before, but based on box track, the time he fought someone who was 2-0, he dropped down to a draw. Of his 6 fights, he's only scored 1 stoppage, whereas Cheeseman, as I say, is 6 stoppages out of 7 wins. So the implication from that would be that Cheeseman is the bigger puncher. Let's go back into the chat. Just I can see the MC is just announcing the 2 guys. Boxing Nick thinks Paulie's going to give a boxing lesson if he's still himself. Lewis, I'm picking Eggington. EFC Joe, Dave Allen on points tonight, 4-1 in a 6-rounder. I agree, that's value. Steve, evening Steve likes Cheeseman. Mikey's asking for come on Sellers, he's a Yorkshire lad. Evening Bryce, evening Neo, evening JG, evening TTPP. Right. I'm going to come back to the chat in between rounds because it looks like the first round is just starting and we're off. As I say, you've got about 20 minutes until it's encrypted. So if you want channel 491, you can actually watch this currently without paying the pay-per-view. So the first minute start and Cheeseman has come out. He's on the front foot. He's trying to establish his jab. Sellers is trying to move around the ring, seems to be keeping his distance, and you know he's putting out a little bit of activity. First 30 seconds, very much a feel out. Sellers has thrown a few more punches than Cheeseman, not landed with very much. You know, maybe Cheeseman's the kind of guy who is going to look to pick his spots and find a gap before throwing too much lever. So not too aggressive in the first 30 seconds here. Initial instinct would be that Cheeseman appears to have a little bit more snap behind his punches, which perhaps isn't a surprise given the knockout percentages of the 2 guys. So Cheeseman's got the center of the ring. Sellers is kind of moving laterally, and Cheeseman's caught him there with the first punch. Cheeseman's caught him with a little uppercut on the inside and followed it up by a hook. Sellers is rallying and Cheeseman's getting low and dipping under punches, looking quite nice. And Cheeseman landed that uppercut there in the first minute, and he's thrown it 3 or 4 times since. So, maybe that's a punch that he's looking for, or maybe just the success there. I was wondering if that wobbles Sellers ever so slightly, and Cheeseman now is very much adopting the approach of trying to walk him down and keep that center of the ring and move forward and come forward. He's using his jab as a measuring stick, but really looking to throw off it, and he lands a decent right hand there, and there's the uppercut again. up the centre. It may be that this stream is going out 10 seconds after the fight is on TV. So, you know, maybe you want to pause your Sky box office to allow this to catch up with it a good 5 or 10 seconds. But here we are. So 1 minute left of the first round, and Cheeseman looks very much on top here. He's walking down this guy. Sellers, it's all a bit pitter-patter at present. You know, there's not, you can see him. I haven't even got the sound on, but you can see there's not much snap in his work. He's just putting his hands out and not really doing much with it. Cheeseman's holding the center of the ring, pushing him back with the jab, and then he's working off tidy little smart sorting up punches. He's had success with the uppercut. There it is again and again. You know, he's hitting with that uppercut 4 or 5 times in this first round, Cheeseman. There it is again, actually. 6th time I've counted he's landed the uppercut. And, you know, Cheeseman not looking bad here, actually. Not looking bad. Are there certain similarities between Cheeseman and Liam Smith? We'll go to the chat in the next 15 seconds. You let me know what you're thinking. But this is a Liam Smith-esque round for me here. Perhaps using the jab a bit more, but there you go. And Cheeseman's looking nice here. He's landing at will from the outside and then coming into range and landing decently on the inside. He looks a prospect. Right, let's go to the chat. Neo Funk says, Gossip's commentary level above Paul Smith. I appreciate that, Neo. JG says, Tom, you're roughly 10 seconds behind. Okay, thanks, JG. If you're watching on Sky, pause it for about 10 seconds, then press play, and we will be on about the same time. Bryce says you should be a ringside commentator. Much appreciate it. Mikey says 10-9 Cheeseman landed the harder, more eye-catching shots. Spot on, Mikey. Mikey puts Sellers slightly inaccurate. Correct. Totally agree. The Wizard says 10-9 Cheeseman. Agree. JG says Cheeseman's taken a couple, but his round. Right, guys. 54 people watching live. Only 12 of you hit the thumbs up so far. Please help me out so I don't have to beg you. Hit the thumbs up button as we go into the second round. Remember, hit the pause button for about 10 seconds, and my commentary, which is on a 10-second delay, will sync up with your stream. But we're off for round 2 here. And both guys come out and the round begins. Straight away, Cheeseman seems to have adopted the approach of holding the center of the ring, whereas Sellers is up on his toes. He's showing a bit of upper body movement, bit of head movement, moving laterally. It's all very pitter-patter, though. You know, he looks like, I know this is an amateur comment, but he looks like his punches aren't particularly hurtful, I've got to say. Cheeseman's just dropped him very, very heavily there. I'll be amazed if Sellers makes the count. Let's have a look. Must be about a 5-6. I thought that was a clean knockout there. Sellers is up at 8, and he's shown great heart to get up. Cheeseman had connected with almost like an overhand right. Time to perfection from Cheeseman, and Sellers went straight down on his back. I thought he was gone. But Sellers is back up, and now Cheeseman's all over him. He lands with that uppercut again and again, and he's really all over Sellers here. Cheeseman does look to be pretty heavy-handed, and he's got really good timing. I said that before this fight kicked off. That was a spectacularly timed shot that Cheeseman landed there on Sellers. Sellers has shown good powers of recovery, though. When I first saw that, I thought that was a straight knockout, but he's back up. He's weathered the initial storm from Cheeseman. Cheeseman stuck it on him a bit here, but Sellers is back up. He's still getting hit and hurt, but he looks like he's out of the initial danger for now. But you just wonder, next time Cheeseman hits him with one of those, are we going to be straight back in dangerous territory? We're 90 seconds left in the second round, people, so Cheeseman's got enough time here, and Cheeseman's pouring it on. And I do think he's a bit like Liam Smith. You know, he's a light middleweight. He's a pressure fighter. He likes to walk down his opponents. He works the body very nicely. There's hooks going into the body. Lots of head movement from Cheeseman. He's getting down low. He's moving his body low. He's dipping under punches, but he's got nice punches from the outside as well. He's clearly a guy whose inclination is to fight inside the pocket and shorten up his punches. But, you know, that knockdown, which was a beautiful, beautiful punch, was a timed right hand from Reigns. And, you know, he's having some effect with his jab here as well. So I must admit, I'm liking the look of Cheeseman here. I really am. He's picking his spots very, very nicely. And it appears that this opponent, Sellers, doesn't really have much to trouble him with, to be honest. It appears that you're looking at two very, very different levels here. So let's have a look. We got 30 seconds left in the second round, and right now it appears that Sellers is going to survive the round. He doesn't look in imminent danger, but surely you can score this no other way than a 10-8 round to Ted Cheeseman here. This is nice stuff from Cheeseman as he lands another uppercut there with 10 seconds left to go in the roundabout. So yeah, there's a bit of a mauling close here. Both guys trying to work on the inside, but the referee's going to call an end to the second round. So if you're just joining us, guys, I'm commentating live on the undercard. David Haye, Tony Bellew. I'm 10 seconds behind. I'm on a 10-second delay. So pause your Sky box office by 10 seconds, and your commentary, the footage you're watching will be in sync with my commentary. So guys, second round. Let me know your comments. That was a fantastic shot by Cheeseman there. Let me know your thoughts. Mikey says, Cheeseman's a rough around the edges, but carries decent power. 2017 Cheeseman in control. I'll be surprised if he doesn't get a KO there. Fair play. Totally agree, Mikey. Mr. Boxing Today's in the chat. Evening, Mr. Boxing Today, or should I say afternoon, given that you're in the States. JG says, Cheeseman looks good. He moves well in the ring. I completely agree. He looks really, really nice here. Looks like a prospect to follow. Admittedly, not in against the most dangerous opponent, but he's only 21 years old, Cheeseman, and he seems to carry natural heavy hands. 65 people watching. 25 of you are hitting the thumbs up. Thanks very much, guys. Keep pressing it if you're new. Round 3 we're in now. Round 3 just kicking off here. Mikey says, what am I drinking? Just a coffee, Mikey. Nothing too exciting. Wizard says KO should come this round. Team Grove says survival mode incoming. So we're in the third round now. We're 20 seconds in. Not much has happened. Yet again, Cheeseman's taken up the center of the ring, trying to work his jab. Sellers is, he looks like he's got some fight in him. To be fair, most people would have got stopped in that second round. So he's heavy-handed. And Sellers is coming out, he's a bit inaccurate, really, Sellers. His punches are coming up short routinely. He's got lots of movement, lots of dipping and diving and ducking. You kind of wonder if some of it is ever so slightly wasted movement sometimes. You just wonder if, he's doing all of this movement and all of this lateral stuff, and you kind of wonder how much effect that it's actually having. But anyway, we're in the second minute of the third round. Been very quiet opening, gone back to sort of feeling each other out here. Sellers is now on the front foot and putting punches together, but again, it's just limited snap. And now Cheeseman goes back on the front foot. What he does is he pushes. I'm not saying that he's fights like Golovkin, but he's obviously been watching Golovkin. He sticks that jab out, he puts the opponent back against the ropes, and then he throws those low hooks to the body, and you can tell those are hurtful shots. And just as he's trying to dissuade his opponent, and just as those hooks are going into the body, you'll see him switch and go up the middle with an uppercut. I can see Eddie Hearn and Barry Hearn at ringside looking to check out this prospect here it is. And here we are. So again, Cheeseman seems to be in first gear in this fight so far. He really does. It doesn't seem like Sellers has anything to bother him with technically, and Cheeseman's really just fighting behind the jab. He gets down low quite nicely, but he's got to be careful as he steps up against level of opponent, because he's ducking so low and moving his head, about opponent's waist height. And this Sellers is missing wildly, but he's just got to ensure that, as he steps up against levels, that he doesn't get clocked there. But yeah, not a big round this. So we've got 30 seconds left in the third round, and it hasn't been too explosive or an exciting round. For me, it's definitely a Cheeseman round again. Sellers has, tried to come forward and show a bit of heart, but Cheeseman's now on the front foot, and Cheeseman's landing hard now, out of nowhere, really. Straight rights, uppercuts. That uppercut is working very nicely for Cheeseman here tonight. The body shot is working nicely. The straight right is working nicely as he lands another straight right. Cheeseman's looking pretty good here, actually. I've got to say, 3 rounds in, I am actually impressed. He's a patient and composed fighter. Patient and composed fighter for 21 years old. He's heavy-handed. He's got outside and inside. Lots of head movement. Let's have a look. Mikey says Sellers need to go out on his seal. No way he's winning on points from here. Modern Broadcast says Cheeseman doesn't give a damn. Picking his shots carefully. Very good. Team Goes thinks Cheeseman got caught too much there. I'm not so sure, you know. I think he's been a bit careless with the fact that he's just going head movement with no hands. But I think he probably knows the opponent is so inferior. Mikey says Cheeseman needs to tighten his defense, but that's a minor flaw he can patch up. JG says good body stops. The Wizard says, how long am I on for tonight? Probably 2 fights. Cheeseman and 1 other. I'll have to see if they go points or KO, mate. Because if they're quick finishes, maybe we will. Maybe we'll stay on for a 3rd fight. We'll have to see. We'll have to see. I think Selby might be out next, so that might be a good one to commentate on. But we're into the 4th round, people. Mikey loves Cheeseman's uppercut. We're into the 4th round, and again, you know, don't want to repeat myself, but the fight is following the familiar pattern. Cheeseman comes out straight to the center of the ring. Sellers appears to be on his back foot, circling around, and Cheeseman, he's a fighter for me. Oh, he's just caught him with a 1-2 there, jab right hand from Cheeseman, and that right hand's a good weapon from Cheeseman. Cheeseman's a fighter for me who picks his spots quite nicely. You know, 21-year-old on a big bill like this, not too experienced. It'd be easy to do what Harley Ben did the other night and come out windmilling, come out, and he's just landed a piece of a right hand there. This is exactly what I mean. Cheeseman keeps his calm, he keeps his composure, and he picks his shots. And he, you know, when he throws punches, they're landing, and they're landing hard. He's showing. He doesn't look like a 21-year-old in there. He looks more. The first minute, Cheeseman's landed with that straight right hand several times, and you can see it's a hard, hurtful shot. To be honest, Sellers has actually impressed me here with the fact that he's still in this fight, because several times he's been hit and I thought he's going. But he's still in there. He's still trying to make a game of it. He's probably too easy to hit, and he doesn't carry enough snap in his work. He's not going to be able to keep Cheeseman off him, which, if I'm honest, is what I suspected when I looked at the 2 guys on BoxRec prior to this fight. Let's have a look. So we're halfway through the 4th round. And again, it's Cheeseman's walking him down here. Cheeseman for me, I don't know, maybe you guys can let me know your comments between the next round. Who are you comparing him to? You know, what fighters, I'm not saying he's any, you know, he's not even operating at English level here, but, you know, in terms of his style, how do you guys describe his style? Because he seems, when I look at prospects, I like well-rounded guys, and Cheeseman for me seems to be fairly nicely rounded here. He seems to have a lot of different tools in his toolbox, and, you know, I know you guys are saying that defensively he's fairly open, but I'm wondering if that's a little bit harsh. He tucks up quite nicely for me. I just think maybe against this level of opponent, he's keeping his hands down and trying to rely on head movement, which hopefully he wouldn't do against, you know, a higher level of fighter. So Sellers has impressed me in this round. You know, he's really trying his best. You can see he's not come to lie down here. He's an undefeated fighter still, and he's obviously got his own desires. I mean, don't get me wrong, I think Cheeseman's won this round again. I've got it 5-0 up after 4 here because of the knockdown. But Sellers, you know, he's at least trying to make a scrap of it here. Just Cheeseman, he's stronger, he hits harder, he's bigger, and technically he's a level above as well. So that's the end of the 4th round. Let's see your comments. Jack says, hey, Tom, I can't watch it live. Thanks for the commentary. Cheers, Jack. Hope you're good, mate. Mikey says, Yorkshire fighters are probably the toughest in the country. Martin says, Cheeseman reminds of Eubank Jr. Yeah, I mean, stylistically, there are some similarities there. Mikey says, Cheeseman looks a bit like Kell Brook on the outside, lead right hand. JG says, for a young guy, he has potential. Good fight to start the night off. And Mikey says, damn, the encryption went off. Okay, so that encryption went off earlier than they'd forecast, which is a shame. Usually they do an hour without encryption, don't they? But there's not too many cards. There's not too many fights on the build tonight, really, is there? You know, it's a slightly smaller build than some of these usual matchroom builds. So maybe that's why. I don't know, Jonathan. I don't know the answer to that. Team Grove says he definitely has some power. Second time watching him. Yeah, me too. Second time. Mikey is annoyed that the encryption's gone off. Anyway, we're into the 5th round, and straight away Cheeseman comes out, jab right hand, cross, lands the right hand. To be fair, Sellers takes it quite nicely. But Cheeseman, again, is finding that success from range. He's finding success to the body with hooks. He's finding success with the uppercut on the inside. You know, Cheeseman's jab isn't a deadly weapon, but what it is allowing him to do is to keep his opponent off him and set up his other work. And there we are, just as I say it, Cheeseman throws a jab, then a right hand cross. If you're just joining us, I can see we're up to 66 people now. If you're just joining us, my commentary is on a 10-second delay. So if you are watching live on Sky Sports Box Office, press your pause button for about 10 seconds, then press play, and it will sync up with my commentary. And you know, we've done a minute of the 5th round. At present, the guys are holding in the center of the ring, and there isn't too much action going on. But once again, Cheeseman taking an early lead in this round, and you know, getting that jab off and throwing stuff off it. And he now lands a right hand to the body. And Sellers, you know, he's still trying to keep some punch output. He's still trying to stick it on Cheeseman a bit, but just with very limited success. He's really struggling to measure Cheeseman here. You know, he's really struggling to land his jab, and when he does get his work off, it's kind of light. You know, he kind of looks like he's pushing out his punches, and it doesn't look like there's any natural snap and natural weight to them. Whereas, you know, Cheeseman, you know, is the complete antithesis, if you like, here. But this round's being fought at more close quarters, at least for the last minute, because maybe it's because Sellers is starting to get tired, and he's, you know, all of that wasted, flashy movement at the start is now forgotten about, and he's more inclined to hold and spoil and, you know, try and survive. We'll have to see. Cheeseman swings with the uppercut there, and I think just misses, and, you know, pot shots with the right hand straight and lands. Another, you know, this really is easy work here for Cheeseman. I'm at the point in the fight now where I've scored every round to Cheeseman relatively comfortably as we come to 45 seconds left in the 5th. I'm at the point where I score it relatively comfortably for Cheeseman, and he's landing some heavy punches against an overmatched opponent. I don't know, maybe I'm being critical. I'd like to see him, as we move into the next round, really start to step it up, really start to look for that stoppage, you know, because I think he's capable of getting it here. And he lands a big right hand on Sellers there. But Sellers, to be fair, is eating these punches very well. You know, I thought he went down like a tree that had been chopped down in the 2nd round. I thought his time was coming, but no, he's showing a lot of heart in there, and a lot. To be fair to him, he's showing a big will to win. You know, he's still in there pitching away, still in there throwing, even though this isn't competitive. So we're coming towards the end of the 5th. Let me know your comments on that round in the chat. And I will read them out. Martin says, Sellers done well to stay in there. If he makes it to the end of the fight, it's a success. Mikey says Sellers is tough. Modern Broadcast said, I'd be interested to see Cheeseman against the Southpaw. Team Grove says, I like your Triple G reference. Boxing Gossip, the way he tries to cut the ring off with a stiff jab. Mikey said if Cheeseman was a Gallagher fighter, he'd only be starting to throw shots. There. But yeah, I think there's a little bit of Golovkin. There's a little bit of Eubank Jr. There's a little bit of Errol Spence. Clearly, he's not operating at anything like that sort of level at this point. But he's a 21-year-old kid. He's obviously got huge backing behind him with the Matchroom stable. If anyone knows this guy's amateur pedigree, can you leave it in the chat? Because I'd be interested to know his amateur pedigree. Presumably, he's got some decent pedigree for Matchroom to pick him up. But you know, he's clearly been watching those names. I'm not saying he's fights like them, but he's been watching them, and maybe he's influenced by them. But we're into the 6th round, and we're going off. Anonymous has joined. He says he comes here because he hates Darren Barker's commentary doing my nutting. Well, Cheeseman lands with a straight right there at the beginning of the round. He's really having success with that punch. Well, Darren Barker, I'm sorry, he's a lovely guy, but yeah, he's not the best commentator. Not saying that I am. I'm a work in progress. This is only my 3rd or 4th time doing it. But yeah, if you guys like it, and if you guys like tuning in, we'll keep doing it. So we're 30 seconds into the 6th, and again, Cheeseman's come out. You know, Sellers, to his credit, again, is still coming forward, still putting punches together. But you know, Cheeseman's landed notable punches in this round, and again, is feeling him out with the jab. Team Grove says, where's Jet when you need him? He'll have the amateur record. Who knows? Mikey, good comment, Mikey. He said Cheeseman had 6 national titles and 60 amateur fights. So his Cheeseman lands with that straight right again. I mean, he kind of throws it. I don't know if you guys will appreciate this reference because I'm probably not phrasing straight away. He almost throws it like an MMA punch. He almost throws it like an overhand type punch. But this guy, Sellers, has really failed to adjust to it because he's coming again and again and again. And I don't know whether he's just not putting his lead hand up. I don't know if Cheeseman's timing him off his jab. You know, he does kind of hold his jab out and he doesn't really snap it in and out, in and out. And I don't know if Cheeseman's just timing him against that. But, you know, Sellers has been very, very poor to adjust to that. He's been hit with that punch continuously and it clearly hasn't registered with him. Or if it has registered with him, he hasn't thought how to adjust against it. And his corner, I haven't had the sound on obviously because I'm commentating, but his corner clearly haven't done the best job. You know, if he was my fighter, I'd be telling him, you're getting hit with that right hand every time Cheeseman throws it. Keep your hand up. But anyway, we've done 2 minutes of the 6th. Cheeseman well up here, still in comfort zone really for me. There isn't a single round of this fight that I could even consider giving to Sellers right now. Perry Linden says Cheeseman is a youth world championship quarterfinalist. So he's clearly got some amateur pedigree then. You know, as I say, I was at his last fight and I thought he was an interesting fighter. But for me, he looks really good tonight. I'm actually impressed, albeit against this level of opponent. We've got 20 seconds left in the 6th. I'd like to see him stop this guy though. I'd like to see him come out and there he is again. He switches it nicely and lands with that straight right hand and he's timing it very, very well. He's really found a home for that punch, Cheeseman. It's quite a mature performance from Cheeseman, I think, here. Yeah, Sellers is tough, he's gritty, he's hard, but really that's all. Cheeseman ducks under some punches, gets low, and the round comes to a close. Karen says, good scrap list, I'm enjoying this bout. Perry says Cheeseman won a bunch of nationals too. Dunk Master says he beat Luke Saunders as an amateur, cousin or second cousin to Billy Joe. Modern Broadcaster, he had 61 fights, 150. Team Gross says Sellers is very tough. Cheeseman hits very hard. I agree. Mikey, Cheeseman should break him down to the body and go back upstairs with the uppercut. Yeah, maybe that's a fair point, Mikey. I'd like to see a bit more work with that body punches because, to be honest, when Cheeseman gets his body work off, he looks nice with them, doesn't he? You know, he's landing. You can tell there's weight behind those punches. Wickedy says, hi, Boxing Gossip. How are you? I'm very good, mate. Looking forward to the boxing tonight. Hope you're well as well. Daniel Regan says, good start to the night. JG says, Sellers still there. Not giving up. Right, so we're starting the 7th round, guys. And as I say, my commentary tonight is 10 seconds behind. 10 seconds behind the Sky broadcast. So if you're just joining us, hit pause on your Sky remote for 10 seconds. Yeah, then we will we'll be in sync. So 7th round has started. The Sky commentary is saying, there's text on the bottom of the screen saying this is Sellers' first time beyond 6 rounds. I don't know, it might be Cheeseman's first time beyond 6 rounds as well. Let's have a look. So we're off in 7, and Cheeseman doesn't look tired for me. He's still, I guess it's just, you know, it's easy not to look tired when you're in against an overmatched opponent, but he's still coming out, and maybe he's loading up on his punches a bit more in this fight. Maybe he is looking to score the knockdown. I'm unsure, but you know, Cheeseman's got a very high knockout ratio, and I think on a pay-per-view like this at the O2, he'll probably be eager to impress and eager to score a knockdown if he can at all. So he started the round by pouring with that jab. It really isn't a great jab from Cheeseman, but it's proving effective because it's allowing him to get his other work off. But you know, maybe he could develop that jab a bit more. He doesn't bring it back to his chin, I noticed. You know, he's throwing the jab out and bringing it back to his waist, but he's putting punches together now in the 7th. You know, he's using that jab and then he's going down to the body. He's throwing sort of almost like a cross between a hook and a cross, landing on Sellers, like a bent arm punch type thing. And he's pitching in there now, Cheeseman. You can see from my eyes he is eager to get this stoppage if it's there. But Sellers looks very tough. You know, that knockdown in the 2nd round, I thought he was gone, and he's still in. He's still in. And to be fair, Cheeseman's landed everything in the kitchen sink on him. And I'm not seeing Sellers cracking here. If I was a betting man, I'm betting Sellers probably makes the distance in this fight. Got a minute left now in the 7th round, and Cheeseman's definitely trying to time that right hand off the Sellers jab. Neither of these guys are doing a great job of bringing that jab hand back to their chin. Cheeseman's getting away with it because Sellers hasn't found his range at any point during this fight. And Sellers isn't getting away with it because Cheeseman's the harder puncher and Cheeseman is timing him fantastically. But yeah, as Sellers paused with that jab, Cheeseman, he almost pulls himself back and then throws that right cross to the chin, and he's landed with it with great success tonight. And there's another uppercut from Cheeseman and another right hand. Sellers eats it all up though, and Cheeseman's holding the center of the ring, pushing that jab out with 20 seconds left in the 7th round. And the guys are holding. It's a bit of a game of rugby with 10 seconds left. Not too much clean stuff as we come towards the end of the 7th round. So guys, let me know your thoughts. We'll come to the comments in the chat during the break in the round. So let me know your thoughts on how this fight is going. Anonymous says Sellers 1 KO from 5. He's not a banger. Certainly agree. What level are you guys seeing Cheeseman at? Do you see him as a British champion? Do you see him as a Euro champion? Do you see him as a guy who can go all the way? Team Grove says, nice to see Cheeseman not panic with the stoppage. He's a bit one-dimensional though. I'm not sure, I think that's bordering on harsh. I think he's shown a few different dimensions tonight. Bearing in mind he's only 21. Evening, Jared. Modern Broadcast says Cheeseman is the South London Troyanovsky. Daniel says, could Matchroom use Sellers as a regular opponent for super welterweight prospects? He has done well to last this long. Absolutely. Anonymous says, Cheeseman European to British. Scott John says, good commentary, mate. Thank you. Oh, so Team Goes meant he meant one-dimensional in terms of getting a stoppage. We're off for the final round, guys. Round 8 of 8 rounds. The guys touch glove and the action starts, and it follows that familiar pattern of having a bit of a fencing match with the jab. Neither guy's jab has really impressed me tonight. The jabs haven't been particularly scoring in this fight. Both of them have been slightly inaccurate with their jab. Both of them are leaving themselves a tiny bit open off the jab hand as well. They don't bring it back to the chin. What do I think about Cheeseman's level? It's hard to know based on this level of opponent, but I think if we factor in his amateur pedigree and the fact he's only 21, I certainly think he can win a British title. He's one of those guys who could dramatically improve, though, because he's got enough tools there to really improve. So we've got 2 minutes left, and Cheeseman's piling forward now. He gets caught as he tries to cut down the ring, though. He was trying to walk Sellers down, and Sellers was able to land a shot there. Nothing of note, nothing that hurt Cheeseman, but Sellers, I don't know if he's tired or if Cheeseman's really pouring it on, but I'm seeing Sellers' back touch the ropes more and more, and he doesn't want to be there. To be fair, Sellers has kept his work rate constant throughout. He's more inclined now to sort of fight inside the pocket. In the early rounds, lots of lateral movement, lots of, work on the outside. Now he's maybe it's because he's getting tired, and who can blame him after 8 rounds? He's, the fight has descended into more of a fight inside the pocket. And we've got 80 seconds left of the final round, and Sellers doesn't look like getting stopped here. He's done well, to be fair. He's lost every round. He's been knocked down hard. It hasn't been a competitive fight. Cheeseman's looked the better man in every area, but Sellers is still in there. And to be fair, last 10 seconds, he's landed a 1-2 combination, straight cross, and then he's landed a hook as well. Cheeseman's caught him again with the right hand. They're opening up. Both guys are throwing down here with 50 seconds left. Sellers, though, he never had snap in his punches even in round 1. And now with 50 seconds to go in the last round, he's got even less. Cheeseman throws that uppercut with success again. That's been a punch that's worked for him in this fight. Referee splits them up, and with about 35 seconds to go, the action continues. And it's got slightly scrappy this round. Cheeseman, you can tell he's looking for the stoppage. And both guys maybe are tired. Sellers really is using some sort of Greco-Roman wrestling technique in there now. He's trying to survive, and Cheeseman's throwing everything into trying to get the stoppage. It's kind of bombs away here. It's quite messy. Both guys are inaccurate, but we've got 8 or 9 seconds left, and I'm sure they're both going to survive here. So surely every round to Cheeseman with a knockdown as well. So surely we're looking at 80-71. Both guys embrace final whistle, final bell's gone. And for me, I quite like that performance from Cheeseman. He's gone up in my estimations there. I thought he performed with credit. I thought he showed a variety of different attributes. I quite like what I saw from Cheeseman, to be fair. I also like what I saw from Sellers, you know. Limited technique, limited accuracy, zero power, but heart, durability in spades. And, yeah, I wouldn't mind seeing him as an opponent again. I don't think Sellers really has much upside, but he is potentially a good opponent. As for Cheeseman, obviously he goes marching on. Triplet says, please do the main card also. I'm not doing the main card tonight, but we'll probably do a video after the main card. Scott says he thinks one more round Cheeseman gets the KO. Triplet says if you do the main card, you'll get 1,000 watching guaranteed. I wish you could guarantee it, Triplet, because if you could, I'd do it. He says, do the main card for your subscribers. No, I'm not doing the main card tonight, but there will be a post-fight video afterwards. So overall, for his first 8 rounder, he seems impressive and can bang. Martin says, credit to Sellers. Right. Give me your thoughts, people. 73 of you watching live. Wickedy Split says, where are you from? Well, I grew up in London, and I'm now just outside of London. Anonymous says, get your popcorn ready. Big night of boxing still to come. Modern Broadcast says, Hearn will probably feed him Wellborn. Do you know what? This is something that I never realised before I started doing these live shows. I don't know if you guys get this as well, but I don't know how long we've been live for now, probably 40 minutes or so. My voice is absolutely ruined. I mean, I'll do another fight, definitely, but yeah, I couldn't commentate the whole night. My throat just starts to ache too much after about half an hour. A cup of tea is a good antidote. A cup of tea and a glass of whiskey, perhaps. Jet has joined in the chat. Hello, Jet. Broken Nose. Hey, BG. I'm looking forward to seeing Katie Taylor again. Good stuff. She's on the card. I think her and Dave Allen are the live floats, so not sure what time they're going to be on. Dunkmaster said Cheeseman had his hands down while in range to try and iron that out. He did. He did. Lots of head movement, but hands down. And, you know, you can see he's got a little mark under his eye there. I mean, it's a fight at the end of the day. He's going to have a mark on his eye. But there you go. The player says you should commentate UFC as well. Absolutely not. I know nothing about UFC, so my commentary would add zero value. Mikey says get some vodka. Wickedy Split is tuning in from California. Lucky you. Triplet says this sounds like a joke, but Bellew will knock out David Haye. We'll see. Maybe it won't be a joke. We'll check in a few hours. Boxing Jet says, gossip, you're the man. Just had to mention that. Checks in the post. Danny Phillips says this will be a slaughter. Mikey says BG is a massive Brock Lesnar fan, I heard. Who isn't? Danny Phillips says the main event is like putting a ferret in with a T-Rex. Anonymous says it could be deja vu for Haye again. Cole Thompson all over again. I believe that when I see it. Team Grove says in his post-fight interview, Cheeseman is saying he feels like he loaded up too much at times. Potentially. Maybe he looked forced to stoppage. Maybe he could have got a stoppage if he went to the body a bit more. He was going to the body very, very nicely. Maybe he could have done that a bit more. I'm not a fan of Eddie Hearn's tie tonight, I've got to say. Just from a sartorial note. Chris Eubank Sr. would not be impressed. Looks like he's going to a funeral, Eddie Hearn. Mind you, it's possibly marginally better than Johnny Nelson's neon tie. So there you go. K Knox says thoughts on the real boxing event tonight, Furman Garcia. Video's up on the channel, K Knox. Check it out. Full prediction and breakdown of that fight. But we're covering the Haye Bellew card on this one. But Jet said, any bets on tonight? Forgot to ask. I think I'm going to have a 50p on Paulie Malignaggi. Modern broadcasters maybe a bit early in their careers, but Fitzgerald versus Cheeseman. The player says, I swear I've seen Tony Bellew in a film. He was in Creed. Abdallah says, hi, can I watch the match here? You can't, but you can listen to live commentary on the David Haye versus Tony Bellew undercard, courtesy of myself. We've got 77 of you watching live. Just out of interest, Sky have got the British rankings on super welterweight or light middleweight. Number 1, Liam Smith. Number 2, Liam Williams. Number 3, Ahmet Patterson. Number 4, Gary Corcoran. Number 5, Jimmy Kelly. Number 6, Danny Butler. Number 7, Asina Byfield. Number 8, Rick Skelton. Number 9, Ben Hall. Number 10, James Metcalf. Where do you think Cheeseman fits into that mob? Mikey says Cheeseman would stop Fitzgerald. The player says, Anonymous says, wants to know who wins between Williams or Smith. Everyone I've spoken to is picking Liam Williams in that fight. Smith's clearly the bigger name. Smith's clearly fought at a higher level. Obviously, he's an ex-world champ, isn't he? He's fought Canelo Alvarez. Whereas Liam Williams, you know, was recently scrapping with the likes of Gary Corcoran. But everyone I speak to is picking Liam Williams. Next up, Lee Selby. So we'll have a quick look forward. Mikey says, BG, do you think Patterson beats Liam Smith? No. Jet says boxing gossip is smart. He knows what he's doing. Jesus, Jet, do you want to comment about how good looking I am? Wickedy Split saying Furman stops Garcia tonight. Ross Wilson said that was a decent fight to start the card. Abdullah wants to know what time does the match begin. If you mean Haye v Bellew, I'm guessing around 10:30, but don't take my word for that. Team Grove says this should end early. Selby is so much bigger. He does look. Mikey says his stream is not working, just a blank screen. When you say your stream is not working, Mikey, do you mean watching me live is not working? Or do you mean that you are illegally streaming the fight and that's not working for you? Martin says, what do you think of my bet? Bellew round 1, £10 at 100 to 1. I guess at 100 to 1. Oh, sorry, Bellew round 10, £10 at 100 to 1. If I'm honest, Martin, I don't think it goes that late at all. I don't actually think 100 to 1 is even enough value. But fair play to you, mate. Good luck. I hope it comes through for you. JG's got Haye 4th. Victoria says, where can I watch the fight for free on the internet? I don't know, Victoria. This is a commentary on the undercard. Let's have a look. Jet say no more compliments. Connor Boyd says, BG, what did you think about Haye's comments towards the Scousers? You know, I didn't really have a strong opinion on it. I don't know if I'm supposed to be outraged or not, but, you know, all of these people so sensitive about, you know, David Haye saying he's going to come out and, you know, Tony Bellew's life is at risk. And people are getting very, very uptight about that sort of stuff. But, you know, that's like, you know, if you're going to eat a chicken nugget, understand that it comes from a chicken. You know, if you're going to be a fan of boxing, understand it involves people getting punched in the face very, very hard. But that's just my take on it. Let's have a look at Mr. Boxing Today says, I wouldn't see an upset. I wouldn't mind seeing an upset. The player says, is there any martial arts you like watching? To be honest, it's just boxing for me, mate. Team Groves, do you have poorly on points? I do. Right. Let's have a look ahead to the next fight then, guys. Let's do a little preview because that's going to be on next. Lee Selby. IBF World Featherweight Champion. 30 years old now, Selby. Older than I expected. 24 fights, 23 wins, 1 loss. The 1 loss came earlier on in his career against Samir Munayemne. I know I've pronounced that wrong, but there you go. Of his 23 wins, 8 of them have come by knockout. Not the biggest puncher in the world, Selby. Recent wins, Eric Hunter, Fernando Montiel, Joel Bronca, Evgeny Gradovich. Boxrec have him as the 7th best featherweight on the planet. He's going in against Andoni Gago. No, me neither. 20 fights. 16 of those 20 wins. 2 losses, 2 draws. He's never been KO'd, so maybe he's quite durable. I don't know. Of his 16 wins, only 5 of them have come by KO. So not the hardest puncher in the world. Boxrec have him as the 77th best featherweight in the world and the 2nd best featherweight in Spain. 31 years old. Not someone I've seen before. He looked tiny at the weigh-in compared to Lee Selby. He looked absolutely tiny. He lost earlier on in his career to a guy called King Dallas, who subsequently lost 4 times. And last year he took a loss to a guy called Viriol Simeon, who, to be fair to him, is undefeated. If you look through his resume, there isn't a list of the great names. As recently as 2016, he fought a guy with a 10-win, 11-loss record. In 2015, he fought a guy with a 12-win, 36-loss record. There's some better records than that. His last fight was against a guy who was 32-6. He fought a guy who was 12-0 last year. So, I don't really know. I haven't seen this guy fight. I don't know if Jet's seen him fight, if you're still in the chat. But yeah, we'll be looking at that fight. This is a non-title fight, of course. This is a fight that got made due to what happened in the States on the Carl Frampton, Leo Santa Cruz undercard, where Lee Selby was due to fight, was it Jonathan Barros? Maybe I've got that name wrong, but the guy was ruled out of the fight late doors for medical reasons, and hence Selby never got his fight. So, and I know that was pretty troubling for him because he had a hard time making weight, and he was looking to set up a huge money fight with a Scott Quigg or a Josh Warrington, a Carl Frampton, and it was a bit of a hit to his momentum. In honest, Selby is a guy who's, for me, the move to Al Heyman hasn't worked out for Selby, and possibly it hasn't worked out for James DeGale either. I mean, that's the story for another day. We could do a whole hour discussing on that, but Selby's a guy who's maybe lacking a little bit of momentum. Anyway, he's on the ring now, and 10-round non-title fight. Sky haven't even done his ring walk, so perhaps that's an indication of perhaps a little bit of lack of star power now. Right, so let's go into the chat. Let's see what's going on. Curtis wants to shout out. Evening, Curtis. 85 people watching live. If you're watching live, please hit the thumbs up button. Support the channel. If you aren't a subscriber, please press subscribe so I can continue to grow things out at this end. Looks like the MC is just doing his introductions to both guys here. Mikey says Selby is just uninspiring for me. Jet hasn't ever heard of Gago. I mean, that shows how obscure he is. Anonymous has clicked the thumbs up. Thanks, Anonymous. Team Gross says, God, this guy is tiny. Selby within 3. Selby by stoppage was 8-11, which I actually thought was a relatively attractive bet. But we've got to remember this guy's never been stopped. So despite the fact that he's pretty small, Selby's never been a puncher. Jets bet on Selby by KO. Benji says the intros are going to be longer than the bout. The Fight Talk agrees with me. Selby's gone backwards since his link up with Al. It hasn't really worked out for him. It hasn't worked out for the Gale either, for my money. Scott says this is light work for Selby. Amir Khan says Gago looks so small that Jet must have followed him since the amateurs. Same says what's happened so far. Nothing's happened so far, mate. They're just being introduced. Ross says Selby needs to step up. Anonymous says who wins? Selby Frampton. Do you know, very hard fight to pick that. I've actually got a slight lean to Selby, which I know will be unpopular. I'm not going to read that out yet. I'm going to deduct your wages though. Connor's got Selby by KO on his accumulator. Sports says, has the White Rhino been on yet? No. Same says, what's going on in the card? Had one fight on TV. There might have been other undercard fights earlier. I don't know. But one televised fight. Ted Cheeseman won 8 rounds. Anyway, we're off, guys. We are off. First round of 10 begins. Lee Selby comes out. Starts in an orthodox stance against Gago. I don't know if I'm pronouncing Gago right. I'm Donny Gago, but we're going to start with that. So Selby comes out. He's working the jab, and he does look a lot bigger, doesn't he? Do you think I'm wrong when I say he looks 2 weight classes bigger? Not only is Gago small, Gago doesn't actually look in particularly good shape. You know, it's bizarre when you've got a guy who's so much smaller, but he possibly looks like he's carrying a bit of extra timber on him, even at featherweight. So Selby has taken up, he's circling the ring, lots of lateral movement, as is always the way with Selby. He's using his range, he's using his reach, hitting with the jab from range. Gago, he's coming forward. He looks very wild in the first minute. He swung and missed, you know, like a fast bowler several times. He's really struggling to find his range. Obviously, he's got very short arms. A guy like Selby, you know, is a guy who's not only much bigger, but moves much better. That's obvious from the start. And Gago's gone down. That didn't look like an overly clean punch to me there, but Gago's gone down hard. I'm not even sure he's going to get up here. He's up. The referee's going to let him fight on an 8 count. I think Selby may have Selby put a flurry of punches together. Maybe he clicked him on the top of the head. I'm going to have to see a replay there, but Selby hit him from range. Gago bent down and Selby caught him with 3 or 4 punches. Maybe he clipped him with the top of his glove on the top of his head. I don't know. I have to see that again on a replay. That didn't look like an obvious knockdown punch here. But maybe the size and class gap is just meaning that Selby's punches are really being felt. Selby hasn't come out over-eager, though, after that knockdown. And Gago does appear to have found his feet and to have recovered. You know, Selby, again in first gear, lands with a straight right there, Selby, but he's taking his time. You know, guys know what Selby's like. He's calm, he's composed, he's clinical, and he's just using the width for the ring here. He's making Gago look very, very basic, and Selby's showboating a bit. He's winding up his punches there, and he's pouring with the jab, and you know, Gago really is swimming and missing like a lunatic in there. This looks very, very, very one-sided. And if you're one of those guys in the chat who bet on Selby by KO like Jet did, at this point, you're happy with your bet, I must say. Selby lands with another right hander. For you guys who've joined live, my commentary is on a 10-second delay. So please press the pause button on your Sky remote for 10 seconds and then it will sync up. But yeah, Selby's boxed nicely this round. He's landed that straight right twice. He's went to the body once or twice nicely. He's jabbed well, and we come to the end of the first round. And Gago's saying he was hit behind the head for that knockdown, which maybe was the case. They're complaining to the ref. I can see that they feel Selby knocked him down with a punch behind the head, which was my initial instinct. I'm just watching the replay here. Yeah, he's just clipped him on the top of the head. Selby's thrown a flurry of 3 or 4 punches. The first 2 have missed, and then he's clipped him on the back of the head. I wonder if he's just gone down because he's felt he's been hit on the back of the head and he didn't think it would be considered a knockdown. Maybe that's why. Maybe he thought he might get a point taken off Selby. I don't know. It really looked like a nothing punch, but it's kind of caught him like, you know, top back of his head. So maybe it's affected his equilibrium. Freston says he took a dive. Mikey says he can't watch. This is glorified bullying. Mason says, what's up, BG? Hope you're good. I'm top of the world, Mason. Thanks for tuning in, my friend. Hope you're good. Team Grove says these guys are always somehow so tough. Benji says Selby's got to get rid of this guy. It will reflect badly on him if he doesn't. I completely agree. 90 of you now watching live. Appreciate you tuning in. Selby comes out for the second round and straight away he's working from range. You know, Selby looks very confident in there. Just the way he's moving, he's very flashy. You know, really, there's even showboating elements to his movement, really. He's just going to the side and he looks ultimate ease. He tucks a nice uppercut in from range there, which catches Gago in the chin. Gago's trying to walk him down, but he's too small and he's too sloppy, and he doesn't have the footwork of a guy like Lee Selby. Selby's got every advantage in this fight, and even though Selby isn't a big puncher, you can see, just as the guys are throwing, that Selby has a power advantage in this fight as far as I'm concerned. The fights, Selby's clearly the ring general in there. You can see he's controlling the pace completely, but you know, he's fighting it at a fairly cool, composed pace. You kind of get the impression that whenever Selby decides to go through the gears, he could have Gago in serious trouble. You know, you can kind of see the way he's moving around the ring and the way he's landing on Gago, and he's landing with a lot of different punches. He's landing to the body, he's landing with that straight right from range, he's landing with the jab. I've seen him throw a few uppercuts. We're 80, you know, we're halfway through the second round, and it's much of a muchness, really. It's glorified sparring, this for Lee Selby. Glorified sparring against the guy who, you know, I know he's a late notice opponent, and obviously I'd not want to give Lee Selby a tough fight here, but this really is, for me, a journeyman level opponent here. I know he's got a deceptively good record, 16 wins from 20 fights, but this guy is no more equipped to being in this ring with Lee Selby than a journeyman, if you like. So anyway, Selby's controlling the round. We've got 1 minute left. He's absolutely dominated the round. Very, very comfortable round for Lee Selby. He's flicking out that jab. He's landing it very nicely for my money. And every time Gago throws, he misses. Selby has created complete inaccuracy from Gago. Gago can't find the range, being so small. He doesn't have the footwork to bring him into range. His punches are too wild, too sloppy, too wide. Selby really is, as I say, in first gear, and he's moving nicely here, Selby. I suspect he'll have another round or so, and then he'll start sitting down on his punches a bit more. You know, he goes to the body again there with a little straight right, Selby, which lands and scores. You know, and he's in cruise control here. Lots of movement from Selby. This is a classic Lee Selby performance. You know, it's kind of everything you expect Lee Selby to do against this type of opponent, he's doing. We're coming to the end of the second round, guys, so leave your comments in the chat and I'll read them out. Second round's now finished. What do you make of Selby? What do you make of Gago? How do you see this fight going? Is Selby going to get a stoppage? Anonymous says the guy's below journeyman level. He's terrible. Lucas says hello. Hello, Lucas. Benji says, I'd like to see Selby jab to the body, bring his opponents down, set with the right hand. Team Grove says Selby's trying to draw him onto the right hand. Anonymous says it's going to go to a TKO. Let me just stop for some water. It's thirsty work, this commentating lock. How am I doing, guys? It's only my third or fourth time doing this, so you know, you guys enjoying it? Is it a feature we should keep on the channel? Should I stick more to the post-fight analysis? Let me know your thoughts. Fundamentally, I want to make videos and live streams that you guys want to watch, so happy to take feedback here as we come out for the third fight. Jet says it's a boring fight. Anonymous says I'm better than Barker. Thank you. Fresh Don says, he says thumbs up. Team Ghost says doing good, although it's a boring fight. K-Nox says listening to the commentary is more entertaining to the fight. Thank you, guys. Maybe I was fishing for compliments there. I don't know, but I appreciate all the kind words. Paul White says pretty good gossip. Ross says I'm listening to you instead of watching the fight. Well, I appreciate that massively. Jared says like a pro, BG. Thank you, Jared. 30 seconds gone in the third round. Selby's just picking him off here, isn't he? Selby's timing has always been good. He picks the right punch at the right moment, and it's so easy for him to do when the guy is so much smaller than him, so inaccurate. I would like to see Selby make a statement here. I think if I look at Andrew Selby, and I was at one of Andrew Selby's fights recently, he's guilty of sometimes not sitting down on his punches. He's guilty of going into sparring mode because he's so dominant skill-wise. And I don't want to see Lee Selby fall into that here. You know, no fan is going to appreciate seeing this fight go 10 rounds. fundamentally, I think I speak on behalf of myself and the 95 people watching live when I say we've already seen enough of Selby's skills in this fight. We know Selby's got the skills. We want to see him push forward and score the stoppage. 90 seconds into the third round, and Gago is throwing like a wild man, charging forward with his head down, hooking and windmilling. Selby's just moving, staying out of range, popping the jab, safety first approach. You know, he's pivoting nicely. He's scoring with the jab. He's looking to time, looking to counter. 70 seconds left in the first, and Selby's now on the front foot. Throws a right hand and now drops to the body. Gago's on the ropes and Selby lands a nice hook to Gago's chin area. Didn't seem, you know, Gago relatively tough. He obviously hasn't been stopped before. Sometimes when a fighter hasn't been stopped, they want to keep that record. So, you know, sometimes it's something they hold very close to their hearts. So it might not be easy for Selby to get the stoppage here. He might have to force it a bit. And I think getting Gago up against the ropes like he did just then is going to be a key thing. I think if he can do that, you know, Selby's drawing his hand back and he's being very flashy with his movement and, you know, hand on the ropes as he's moving. He's very much trying to be stylish and they're very stylish with his feet. But, you know, let's have a lot of style, but let's have an equal amount of substance here. He's timing Gago so nicely. He lands with a big right hook there. So 95 people watching live. If you are joining now, just remember my commentary is on a 10-second delay approximately. So press pause on your Sky remote for 10 seconds and it will sync up with what I'm talking about. 15 seconds or so left in the first round, guys. Leave your comments in the chat. Third round's actually just finished. Leave your comments in the chat and I will come to them. Fight Talks is great job once again. Paul says it's a boring fight. Mikey says, guys like Selby shouldn't be on pay-per-view. Great fighter, but boring to watch. Paul says, the sooner he finishes, the better. Mikey agrees. JG says he likes the commentary. BG, keep it up. Team Co says, this guy's taking lessons from Wilder with the windmill. Modern Broadcast says, Selby's the most overrated fighter in the country. I think he's very, very good to watch, actually. I think he's very, very good fighter. I don't think he's overrated. I just think he's, you know, sometimes guilty of being very technical and safety first. Broken Nose says Selby would be better to watch if he tried harder during fights. Ross says, let us know when this one's over, BJ. Well, I am commentating live, Ross, so I'm sure I will do. Team Gross says we need Selby to get rid of him so we can see the Rhino next. Modern Broadcaster Selby prances about, Modern throws punches. Ross says good fighter, boring style. We're into the fourth now. Gago again coming forward aimlessly. Benji says Selby needs to finish this ASAP if he wants to be in the same bracket as Frampton. Amir Khan's Chin says he enjoys watching Selby, but not against the midget. How long till the Haye fight? We don't know. It's not at a set time. We're guessing around 3.5 hours, something like that. But it depends how the early fights go. First fight obviously went the 8-round distance. 40 seconds into the fourth round, and at this point, Selby seems content to sit on the back foot and pick away with the jab. Gago is actually the more aggressive fighter here. You know, don't get me wrong, Gago's not landing anything of note, but he's coming forward, he's putting his head down, and he's marching forward, throwing windmills. And Selby's just content to sit on the back foot, throw the jab, and then every so often switch it up and try and time him with a straight right. But this Gago does look tough, he does look durable, and Selby isn't the biggest puncher. I'd like to think Scott Quigg and Carl Frampton, potentially neither of them are technically as good as Selby. I don't know. People might disagree, but they might have got this guy out of there by now. I want to see Selby put this guy with his back to the ropes a bit more, because with 90 seconds left of the fourth round, it's very much comfort zone here from Selby. And Selby times him nicely with a hook there, but it doesn't wobble Gago. And you know, Gago still is coming forward. Credit to him. You know, he's limited. He's boring to watch, but he's got some determination because he's hopelessly outclassed here. And Selby is just picking away at him. And I think he's 2 weight classes bigger personally. Selby's big at this weight class, isn't he? And Gago is obviously very, very small. For me, you're seeing a super bantamweight in Gago against probably a super featherweight in Selby here. But anyway, 40 seconds left of the 4th round, and I'm afraid the fight is continuing in its natural pattern here, guys. Selby is very, very much just in sparring partner mode. He's just taking a step back, having a walk around the ring, flicking out a little jab. When he sees an opening, timing a straight right. You know, he's not trying to come on the front foot. He's not trying to put Gago on his back foot. I'd like to see Selby throw power punches to the body. Gago seems very hittable to the body. Selby's had success when he's used those punches. Now I'd like to see him dig in and try and put snap behind him a little bit more. And it looks like we're coming towards the end of the 4th round. So leave your comments in the chat, people. Leave your comments in the chat, and I'll come to them in the break between the round. 100 people watching live. Thanks for joining, everyone. Modern broadcasters, let's be honest, he got lucky against Gradovich. That wouldn't have been stopped in America. He was dominating Gradovich, though, wasn't he? Mikey says Selby is better technically, but has no power or killer instinct. Boxer Out Britain says, in Selby's defense, he probably wants to get rounds in, and that's exactly why he isn't commercially appealing, Boxer Out. You know, that's why the casual fan doesn't look out for Lee Selby fights. Cameron says, hi. Boxer Out Britain says, you've been up all night, Gossip? No, I don't know if I look particularly tired. I did run 20 miles yesterday, so the Gossip is a bit worn out, I must say. Right, looks like the 5th round is just kicking off, people. 105 people watching live now. So, yeah, this isn't doing so bad in terms of the numbers. He's just waving them in for the 5th round, and they're off. They're touching gloves at the start of the 5th round. Very much sparring partner-esque, that. Selby is just showing all the tricks, isn't he? He's slipping and sliding, he's pivoting, he's ducking low, but you know, he's not really turning up the pace. And I can imagine some of the fans in the arena will be getting a bit frustrated with him here. He's landing nicely with Gago, but I don't know whether it's just that he's very light-handed, Selby, or whether he's just not sitting down on his punches so much, but everything he's landing is just kind of bouncing off Gago, and it's not stopping him coming forward whatsoever. Selby's the ultimate ring general in there. You know, you can tell he's very savvy, a lot of ring craft, but he's just content, isn't he? He's just content to do what he's doing. And the first minute of that 5th round has followed the same pattern. Selby lands with a nice right hand there, but it doesn't stop Gago coming forward. Gago maybe even shakes his head at him. And, you know, every single round of this has gone to Selby easy. Let's have a look. Selby holding the center of the ring now and just pouring with that jab, but it's all, you know, he's digging to the body a little bit. Maybe he's trying to turn up the pace. He lands a decent straight right there, Selby, but he's so much bigger and so much classier, and this guy has so little to offer. I'd really like to see him. Yeah, nice uppercut there from Selby on the inside, but again, he's throwing these punches, he's landing. And then rather than pressing the advantage and setting his feet, you know, he's kind of happy to glide around the ring. And I can see his corner are waving him on now. You know, he just landed an uppercut in his corner. I can see her sort of waving him in, saying, go on, follow it up. And I think that's exactly right. That's what he needs to do. You know, he's landing with every punch in his arsenal on this guy. Now, rather than just floating around the ring for a little walk and a little stroll, he'd be better off to follow it up. And, you know, maybe if you land to the guy's chin, when the guy tucks up, drop and go left, right to the body. You know, maybe if you go left, right to the body and the guy drops, go with the uppercut up the center. You know, Selby's holding his chin out with his hands down by his knees now. And it's all of this showboating and stuff, but it's a huge amount of style and not as much substance. And Selby's one of these guys where he is very good to watch in a world level matchup. But not so good to watch in a fight of this nature, because he doesn't go into destroy mode, which we'd like to see. And you know, if you're one of those guys who bet on Selby by KO like Jet, I wonder, he's starting to get a bit concerned now after 5 rounds. 5th round is coming to a close here, people. So comments in the section, comments in the chat, and I'll read them out. The fight talk. Dave Allen is a live float tonight, mate. Jared says Selby should be taking this guy out. Less showy and more aggression. Completely agree. Modern broadcast, he needs to up the tempo and throw fast combinations. He's lazy. Mikey says, told you Selby wins on points. If you had a gun to my head, Mikey, after 5, I'd still go Selby KO. I still would. But, you know, hopefully his corner will put a rocket up his arse here. I'm sure Eddie Hearn wants him to get a knockout. Jay McCulloch, you've come to the wrong place. This is a live commentary on the undercard. Benji says, this fight isn't going to go the distance, is it? I hope I'm wrong. Kay Taylor hasn't been on yet. Paul Herford says, is he saving his energy? You'd hope not going into round 6. M2DB, are you commentating on the Haye fight? No, I'll do a post-fight reaction though. Right, 6th round has begun. Gago, again, he comes forward, but Selby just pivots him and puts him with his back to the ropes. And Selby is now, to be fair to him, he's landed a straight right and dropped to the body. That's exactly what I said last round. And Selby does seem to be setting his feet a bit more. That's exactly what he needs to do. When he lands that punch, he needs to stay on him and change levels. When Selby gets Gago to the ropes like he did there, he looks like he could take him out. And yeah, that's really what I want to see from Selby. Gago, he is a come forward guy. He does duck his head and come forward. So his inclination is to stay off the ropes, which is exactly what he needs to be doing. But, you know, when Selby gets him there, Selby needs to be landing something meaningful. And I'd maybe like to see more body work from Selby. I'd like to have seen it earlier on in the 6th, but if he starts it now, that's, you know, it's better late than never. So we've done 70 seconds of round 6. And Selby very, very much on top in this round, as he's been in every round so far. Gago, determined, hot, tough, very, very, very limited here. And, you know, Selby, he's now got him up against the ropes. Gago's back has just touched the ropes and Selby goes twice low to the body. Gago's now on the back foot, you know, but again, Selby takes a step back and does some of this movement, you know, this sort of over-exuberant movement. And Gago's now able to charge forward again. You know, Selby, he's not doing a great job at pressing home that advantage given his dominance here. So, yeah, 70 seconds left. And Selby throws a quick hand combination and lands with a huge straight right on Gago. You know, if Selby had power, that's a punch that would knock someone out. You know, that straight right has worked very, very well for Gago. Oh! Selby and Gago treads on Selby's foot and goes to touch gloves with Selby. And as Gago puts his hand down, Selby catches him with a huge right hand. Almost Floyd Mayweather, Victor Ortiz that. But Selby didn't have the power of Floyd Mayweather, obviously, because Gago ate the punch nicely. So, yeah, you could say that's poor sportsmanship from Lee Selby, especially considering he showed no desire to finish the fight at any other point. But, yeah, Gago stepped on his toe, went to hold his hand out to touch gloves, and Selby just overhand righted him straight in the face. You know, that's a punch that should really have knocked Gago out, but Selby showed a lack of power there given the size difference. And, you know, maybe I'm harsh to call it poor sportsmanship because, you know, number one rule of boxing is protect yourself at all times. And Gago wasn't doing that. But anyway, Gago took the punch well, and, you know, Selby's continued dominant and is pressed home his advantage here without looking at any point like he was going to stop Gago. So we've come to the end of the 6th and they touch gloves. So he wanted to touch gloves after the round, Selby, just not during. So fair play to him. Right, guys. End of the 6th round. Let me know your take on that punch from Lee Selby. Should he have done that? You know, let me know how you see this fight going here. And yeah, I can just see. So Gago's put his hands down to touch gloves, completely defenseless, and Selby's just overhand righted him in the face. Patchy, this isn't a live streaming service. No, it is a commentary on the undercard. Could you see Darren Barker's chatting away on the telecast? $110 of you watching live. Thanks for everyone who's joining. And we begin the 8th round. 7th round. My apologies. Got another 4 rounds still. It is my frustration with the Selby brothers. It is this sparring partner mode. You know, maybe Lee Selby showed a bit more will to win in that last round, to be fair to him. He's come out relatively aggressive so far this round, Selby, and Gago's back is touching the ropes within the first 30 seconds. And that's something I've noticed more as the fight's gone on late. Maybe as Gago's taken a few more punches, maybe he's just got a little bit older. But yeah, Gago has taken a few more rounds with his back to the ropes, and certainly I think that's where Selby's going to be able to press home his advantage a little bit more. Let's have a look. Selby jabs to the body, holding the center of the ring with 1 minute gone in the 7th. And Selby just putting his work out quite nicely, catches Gago with a big right hand there. Gago eating that right hand, that straight right hand from Selby a hell of a lot. But it's not wobbling him. And, you know, apart from that blip in the first round where whether he thought he was going to get a point docked off Selby for hitting behind the head, I don't know. Gago hasn't actually looked to be bothered by any of Selby's power here. Selby lands an uppercut on the inside. So let me know. I don't know, Jet, if you're still there. If you are still there, Jet, let me know. How are you feeling about your bet? At this point, I'd say it's about 50-50 whether Selby will get the stoppage here or not. Selby pouring with that jab and circling. Gago very much on the front foot in the last 30 seconds. But what Selby is good at is allowing Gago to put him back, push him back to the ropes. So Selby's back touches the ropes and then literally pivoting around, swap positions, and then pushing Gago back. He's done that a few times with success, and that's the slick, slippery skill of Selby. But he's just not pressing that home, you know, as much as I'd like at that point. And there's too much light on your toes dancing. And, you know, right now, Gago's got Selby with his back to his ropes. Let's see if he tries to pivot again. He does circle out, but he doesn't position Gago back to the ropes here. So, yeah, we got 40 seconds left in the 7th, and Selby's coming out. He's throwing his jab. He's dropping to the body again. And, you know, Gago isn't showing any signs of fading for me. JG says Selby should have had this guy out of there by now. Not a good display. Wallpaper Flembot says there won't be a stoppage here. Anonymous says Selby needs to stop him. The Wizard says, what fight's on next? I don't know. I don't know what's on next. Could possibly be Dave Allen, I guess. Could be Katie Taylor. Selby lands a big right hand at the end of the 7th round. But again, this Gago takes it nicely. End of the 7th round, people. 115 people watching. If you're one of the 115 watching, please hit the subscribe button. Please hit the thumbs up button. Helps me add more visibility to the channel. Sky are just putting the schedule along the bottom of the screen here. It looks like Dave Allen versus David Howe is next, and that Katie Taylor will actually fight just before David Haye on the main event. So it looks like Dave Allen could well be the next fight, people. I'm not sure I'm going to be able to stay on for it, though, because I didn't expect these first 2 fights to go to different distance, if I'm honest. I thought Cheeseman and Selby would both win in 3 or 4 rounds, and I thought my throat would be a lot fresher than it's currently feeling. Let's put it that way. Shout out to Dave Allen, friend of the channel. We'll have to get him back on for an interview very, very soon, but really good for him to get 2 fights in a week and be on a pay-per-view card on the O2. It's gonna raise his profile. 8th round begins, guys. Familiar so far. Gago comes out, head down, bull in a china shop, charging forward. Selby on the back foot, drifting around outside the pocket, light on his feet, pumping out that jab. Selby winding up his punches like he's some sort of an electric power puncher, but really just tip-tapping away like a, you know, like you'd see a Team GB amateur. Gago is getting caught with every punch as he tries to walk Selby down, and Selby is just so at ease in there. He's so skilled, so slick, so comfortable, such a level above this guy. But really what I want to see him doing now is starting to sit down. That's really what I want to see. You know, sit down on those punches, maybe the left and right hook to the body. Maybe just an unanswered flurry could get the stoppage here. What he needs to do is push Gago back and then just hit him over and over and over again. Maybe that's the way to do it. I think the thing that's frustrating about Selby, as we've done 70 seconds of the 8th, is not that he's not getting the stoppage. It's that he doesn't even seem to want to get the stoppage. Lands a meaningful punch there. Right hook to the body, goes up top, left hook. And Gago now could be in trouble here. He's back to the ropes. Now Selby's coming forward. This is where he needs to push home now. Selby has had a lot of punches on answer here. The referee's having a little look. Gago's back to the ropes. Selby drops down to the body. And Selby is now very much the aggressor. But Gago's been able to hold and the referee splits them up. And Selby, I'm hoping now, is going to push forward now and try and get a similar position right away. Gago's back touches the ropes again and Selby drops to the body. This is better from Selby. This sticks the jab out. And, you know, starts to put a few punches together. I'd like to see output now from Selby. I'd like to see fast, aggressive output. But again, he goes on the back foot. He bounces on his toes. And he allows Gago to have a second or two to recover on the inside and, you know, and to continue with his normal stream of assault. So perhaps Gago's weathered the storm there. Let's see. Selby catches him with a long right, though, and another long right. And an uppercut on the inside. And now Gago, you know, this looks like the writing could be on the wall here. Selby really should stop him now. You know, you guys can tell me between rounds, but for me, Selby, a world-class finisher would have stopped him there. This is a small guy. This is a technically limited guy. This is a defensively open guy. You know, I'd have liked to have seen Selby score the stoppage there. He's winding them up a bit more, Selby, but he's just not pressing them home. Imagine what Chris Eubank Jr. would have done if that guy was in the corner. We'd have seen 50 punches there. That's what I want to see from Selby. And this Gago's ready to go. His back's touched the rope again, and he's still pitching away. But Selby is, you know, Selby really should be stopping him. Should be stopping him. Here. Round 8 is over. Let's go to the chat. Paul says the guy's corner should pull him out. Ayala says, I hope you commentate the whole night. Unfortunately not. I'm probably logging off after this fight, I'm afraid. The throat is going. Don't have the energy to do the whole night. Anonymous says, Frampton beats Selby. Mikey agrees. Say Quigg beats Selby. Big Sal. Daniel says, not sure if he wants to round. He doesn't seem to be going for that spiteful finish. If you want, you know, it's fine to say you want 5 or 6 rounds, but to want to go the distance and not score a stoppage against the guy at this level is stupid. It's damaging for your career. This is why Selby has never made himself a big name. This is why Selby isn't a fan favourite. It's fights like this that turn even the hardcore boxing fans like us off. 125 people we're up to, so many thanks to everyone for tuning in. Wallpaper, yes, I certainly will be doing a post-fight vid for Haye Bellew, certainly. Round 9 begins. Let's see Selby go through the motions here. Again, lots of style. Let's see some substance here. Gago, I think he's ready to go. I think next time is, you know, Selby catches him with a hook there, and Gago, for me, is he's getting it beaten out of him here. I'm seeing his back touch the ropes more and more. Next time that happens, let's see Selby. Here we go. Back to the ropes. Selby lands a huge left hook and now a right hand and drops to the body. Gago's on unsteady legs and the ref stops him. Gago's furious, but the ref was right to stop him there. Everyone has seen enough. Thank God for the stoppage. Selby did what he needed to do in that 9th round. That's exactly what I was looking for him to do. Gago's furious, but that was a good stoppage for me. There was no competition. There was no will to win. He was tired. Selby was loaded, landing every punch, and Selby wins every round, scores a knockdown in the 1st, and stops the guy on his feet in the 9th. Credit to Lee Selby. I'd have liked to have seen him do it a little bit earlier. I'd have liked to have seen him score the stoppage a little bit earlier there, I must say. I'd have liked to have seen him gone through that motion, doing exactly what he did. You know, I was saying it, I think I was saying it about the 6th or the 7th round, that this guy's vulnerable when his back's to the rope. And, you know, that's when Selby needs to be going to the body and mixing up the levels. And I just think he could have done what he did a few rounds earlier. And I think if he had done that, people would be saying, oh, Selby looked good tonight. Whereas now I think it's going to be, oh, Selby got taken 9 rounds by a journeyman and was happy to spar for the first half dozen. So there we go. Paul says just 4 rounds too late. Modern broadcasters, how has he got a cheek to mouth off to the camera after that? Yeah, good point, modern broadcast. Sport says good work, BG. Thanks, Sport. Right, guys. I've done an hour and a half. I think my time is up for now. Thanks to everyone who's followed live. Maxed out at 125. So if you're one of them, thanks a lot for watching. 86 people hit the thumbs up. Hugely appreciate that, guys. That helps the channel more than you know. If you are new to the channel, haven't tuned in before, please press the time to hit the subscribe button so you can check out my other stuff. I'll be doing some stuff later on the channel, so you'll be able to check that out. Jim Jets says stay, BG, mate. You're better than Jim Watt. Benji says great work, BG. Paul says thanks. Anonymous says cheers, BG. Jared says absolutely terrible by Selby. Well done, BG. Cheers, guys. Appreciate all the kind words. Yeah, no, I do. I'm going to have to log off now, guys. We're going to sign off with 94 thumbs up. So many, many thanks to everyone who do that. I massively appreciate that. This will go up now as a video. So if you did want to watch it back for any reason, it will go up and probably take half an hour or so, but you'll be more than able to. And we'll be back on the channel later with some post-fight reaction to David Haye, Tony Bellew. JG says, good work, BG. Tingo says, you left off with Darren Barker. Jared says, Jets are standing now. Fight Talk says, good job once again. Better than Mr. Frotz. Well, I'm glad you guys like it. And if you guys like it, we'll keep doing it. So I've got into the habit of doing 1 or 2 fights and, you know, let's keep it going. Mikey says, enjoy the night, BG. You too, mate. Broken Nose Media says, catch you later. Cheers, mate. All right, guys, that's me done. Hope everyone enjoys the fights. I'll catch you later. Cheers, Wallpaper. Catch you guys later.